Hi, my name is Caleb and I'm from Boston. I'm 40 and recently went through the toughest patch of my life. I married my college sweetheart and my life was going pretty perfect until she decided to cheat on me with another guy. I was devastated, to say the least, because I truly loved her a lot and we had 2 little kids of our own. It was rough, but I ensured she suffered from the mess she made. I remember the first time I saw Sadie. It was sophomore year in one of those big, stuffy lecture halls where it was easy to feel like just another face in the crowd. Both of us were majoring in business, and the class was financial accounting. I was sitting a few rows back, half paying attention to the professor and half daydreaming, when she came and sat beside me and we talked a bit. Then a few weeks in, we had this brutal midterm coming up. I was struggling with the material, so I figured it was time to find a study partner, and I overheard Sadie talking to the professor after class, asking some pretty smart questions, so that was my cue. After she wrapped up, I suggested we team up for a study session. She agreed, and that was the start of it all. We started with late-night study sessions in the library. We used to go over lecture notes, quiz each other, and try to make sense of the endless stream of numbers and formulas. But soon enough, those sessions turned into long conversations, and I found myself looking forward to our study sessions more and more. It was not just about getting through the coursework anymore, but about spending time with her. One night, after a particularly grueling study marathon, we decided to take a break and grab some coffee. We ended up sitting in that little campus cafe until it closed, just talking and laughing. I knew then that this was more than just a study partnership. Before long, we started dating. It felt like the most natural thing in the world. We used to walk to class together, grab lunch between lectures, and attend college events as a pair. Nonetheless, those were some of the best times, just being together without a care in the world. And as the year went on, our bond only grew stronger. We became each other's biggest supporters. Then after graduation, Sadie and I decided to take the plunge and move in together. We had been inseparable through college, and the idea of starting our new lives apart felt like taking a step back. So we both decided to move to New York, because Sadie got a solid 9-to-5 gig at a marketing firm there, while I went the freelance route as a business consultant, so it was a win-win for us both. In the start, when our financial situation was not that great, we found this 1-bedroom apartment that was okay-ish. It had a tiny kitchen, a decent-sized living room, and just enough space for us to make it our own. Sadie came from quite a wealthy family, so she was not at all used to this, and had to adjust in the start, while I came from a normal family and was rather okay with it. Sadie's job had her up early and out the door by 8 a.m. every morning. I, on the other hand, had a more flexible schedule, which was both a blessing and a curse. There were days when I used to have back-to-back client meetings, and others when I would have been working from home in my pajamas. It took some getting used to the whole New York vibe, but we got used to it eventually. Then, on our 6th anniversary, I decided it was finally time to pop the question. Sadie and I had been through so much together, and I couldn't imagine spending my life with anyone else. Plus, we had recently hinted at the marriage topic, so it was the perfect time. I wanted the proposal to be special, so I planned to do it in the same spot where we had our first date, that little campus cafe that stayed open late. It had been our spot since college, and it just felt right. We had decided to fly over to Boston for our anniversary. Just casually, Sadie did not know a thing about the proposal. Sadie's sister, Everly, was in Boston, and thankfully she planned everything out for me. But the place had not changed much, and it was the perfect setting for such a big moment. Everything went perfectly, even better than I had imagined, and then the next few months were a whirlwind of wedding prep. The ceremony was perfect as well. We exchanged vows we had written ourselves, promising to support and cherish each other through whatever life threw our way. Quite ironic, I know. After the wedding, life moved pretty quickly. We finally bought a house in New York, which was a charming place with a big backyard, perfect for the kids we planned to have. It was our dream home, with plenty of space for us to grow as a family. Our first big milestone was the birth of our daughter, Anna. Holding her for the first time, tiny and perfect, I was overwhelmed with love and responsibility. Then 3 years later, we welcomed our son, Atlas, into the world. And having 2 kids under 3 was challenging, but it also brought a lot of joy and laughter into our home. Sadie and I had to master the art of juggling work, kids, and everything else, but we made a great team. Our house had quickly turned into a home filled with love and laughter, and Saturday mornings were filled with pancakes. Evenings were for family dinners, where we would talk about our days and the whole shebang. And then Sadie and I would tuck the kids into bed. Sadie and I still made sure to carve out time for each other. And of course, after marriage, our life was not always picture perfect, even if in a way it was. Anyway, we had our fair share of challenges, from stressful days at work to the occasional sleepless night with a sick child. But those tough times only made us appreciate the good times even more. Now, not to brag or anything, but I had basically raised Anna Atlas, and it has been one of the most fulfilling parts of my life. With Sadie's demanding 9-to-5 job that often stretched late into the evening, I took on most of the day-to-day parenting duties. It was not something we had planned, but it naturally fell into place. Anna is now 15 and Atlas is 12, and looking back, I realized just how much time we have spent together, just the three of us. From the moment they were born, I was the one changing diapers, making meals, and handling bedtime routines. When Anna started school, I was the one who walked her to the bus stop every morning and helped her with her homework every afternoon. Atlas was a whirlwind of energy, and keeping up with him was a full-time job in itself. But I loved every minute of it. Our days were packed with activities. And I even got pretty good at braiding Anna's hair, which she liked to remind me was not easy. The kids and I developed a strong bond over the years, and we had our little traditions, like making homemade pizza on Fridays and having movie nights with popcorn on Saturdays. Sadie joined when she could, but her job kept her busy. And now, for the past month or two, things had gotten even more intense. Sadie had been coming home later than ever. Sometimes she did not even walk through the door until after the kids were already tucked in bed. I thought I could tell it was wearing on her, and it was hard for the kids too. They missed their mom, and I tried to fill the gap by making sure they knew how much she loved them, even when she could not be there. Dinner time was particularly special. We used to sit around the table, and Anna and Atlas used to tell me about their day. Anna had been really into science at that time, and Atlas was all about dinosaurs. We even tried to FaceTime Sadie sometimes so she could at least see their faces before they went to bed, but she rarely picked up. After dinner, it was homework, baths, and bedtime stories, and by the time Sadie used to get home, the house was quiet and she looked exhausted. I thought she felt guilty about missing so much, so I tried to reassure her that we were doing fine. The kids were definitely more attached to me now. When they had a problem or needed comfort, they came to me first, and I loved being there for them, but I wish Sadie could share more of these moments. So, after another late night at work, I sat her down and talked to her about it. I asked her why she was getting late daily and what was going on in the office, and to my surprise she just got irritated, saying she doesn't do it deliberately and that the project going on was very tough and lengthy. It was kind of weird that Sadie had to work daily till so late at night, and even her excuses did not sit right with me. I mean, there was something called work ethic, but I tried to understand it and ignore it because it had become a bit too much now. Then one day, it was a regular Tuesday morning. Sadie had left for work, and I was getting ready to tackle another day of managing the kids' schedules and my freelance work. I had just finished making breakfast for Anna and Atlas when the doorbell rang. It was Sadie's sister, Everly, standing there with a strange look on her face. I was a bit surprised to see her so early in the morning because she usually called before visiting, but nonetheless, I invited her in. Everly was a very funny and sarcastic person and was always cracking jokes here and there, and was also the most carefree person I knew, so when I saw her that day she was uncharacteristically serious. She walked and sat down, rushing me urgently, saying that she wanted to tell me something. The kids were in the kitchen, finishing up their breakfast, so I joined her. My mind was racing with thoughts. What's going on? She hesitated, then took out her phone. I need you to watch this. It is important. No, this is urgent. Okay, calm down, Everly, and then tell me what happened, okay? Do you need a glass of water? No, I don't want anything, Caleb. I just need you to watch this. What happened? What is it? It's about Sadie. What happened to Sadie? Is she all right? Don't ask me any more questions, Caleb. It is best if you see it yourself. I don't want to ruin things anymore. I was confused and a bit concerned, so I took the phone from her and pressed play. The video was grainy but clear enough to recognize the setting, which was a party. There was Sadie, laughing and talking with her friends. At first, it seemed harmless, but then the conversation took a turn. Her words were crystal clear, and she was shouting this out in front of all her friends, saying, "Caleb is such a loser. He will never leave or divorce me, even if he finds out I am cheating on him. He is too weak." I could not believe what I was hearing. I remember how my heart pounded and my hands were trembling as I replayed the video, hoping I had misunderstood. But the words were clear. Sadie's voice, her tone, everything about it was unmistakable. I felt angry and betrayed, like, how could she say those things? How could she do this to me, to our family? I looked up at Everly, who was teary-eyed as well. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. Everything I thought I knew about my life, my marriage, was suddenly in question. I glanced towards the kitchen where Anna and Atlas were still eating, oblivious to the bombshell that had just dropped. I'm so sorry, Caleb, I did not know how to tell you. I found out a few days ago and I just could not keep it from you. Thank you, Everly. I need some time to process this. She understood the cue. I am here if you need anything. Just call me, okay? She gave me a hug and left, leaving me alone with my thoughts. I sat there for a long time and tried to wrap my head around what I had just seen and heard. The woman I loved, the mother of my children, had betrayed me in the worst possible way. And not just the cheating, but the way she talked about me. The contempt in her voice. It was like she did not even know me, or worse, did not care or even love me. Eventually, I pulled myself together because I realized the kids needed me, and I had to figure out what to do next. I got them ready for school and my mind raced with questions, like how long had this been going on? Why had I not seen the signs? What was I going to do? I was devastated by what Everly had shown me, but I did not confront Sadie right away. I needed to be sure before I did anything that would possibly tear our family apart. So I decided to dig deeper. I had to find proof on my own. Over the next week, I tried to get a hold of Sadie's phone, but she kept it glued to her side. She even took it with her when she showered or went to the bathroom. It was frustrating, to say the least, and it felt like she was hiding something, and my suspicions grew stronger. I spent days constantly trying to find an opportunity. Every time she set it down, it was only for a brief moment, and she used to pick it up again before I could get to it. It felt like she was always one step ahead, and my patience was wearing thin. I knew I could not keep living in this limbo, needing proof but unable to get it. Then, one Saturday, I finally got my chance. Sadie was in a rush to pick Anna up from a friend's house. In her hurry, she left her phone on the kitchen counter. My heart pounded as I saw it there, unattended, and realized this was it. This was my chance. I quickly grabbed the phone, praying she had not changed her password. Thankfully, she hadn't. My hands trembled as I opened her messages and started scrolling. At first, there was nothing unusual, just chats with friends and family. But then I saw a thread with a contact named M. My stomach turned as I read through the messages. They were full of flirtatious exchanges, plans to meet up, and confessions of love. There, in plain sight, were texts between Sadie and her lover, and the messages were explicit, leaving no room for doubt. They talked about meetings in hotel rooms and planned for their next meetup, and even joked about how easy it was to deceive me. And this was not just a fling, it had been going on for months. They had met up at hotels during lunch breaks and even planned to spend a weekend together while she was supposedly on a business trip. The betrayal cut deep and I felt full of rage, sorrow, and disbelief, questioning myself again and again how she could do this to us and to our family. People say that there are always signs when a person is cheating on you, but that's not true because Sadie acted like the loveliest person and there was no way someone could have expected this, let alone me. I was so crossed and just downright mad at that time, but I gained a bit of control on myself and then decided to make a smart move than cry about it. I spent the next few minutes taking screenshots and forwarding the messages to my own phone. I needed to have this evidence if I decided to confront her, or worse, if things escalated to a legal battle and my mind was racing with thoughts of what to do next. Should I confront her right away? Should I wait and plan my next steps carefully? I had no idea. When Sadie got back with Anna, I pretended everything was normal, but inside I was a mess. I needed to figure out what to do next, and confronting her was inevitable, but I wanted to be prepared. I wanted to make sure I could protect the kids from the fallout. Over the next few days, I continued to play along, all the while thinking about the best way to handle the situation. It was hard to look at Sadie the same way, knowing what she had done, and every smile, every touch felt like a lie. In the end, I decided that instead of confronting her immediately, I would play it cool and act like everything was normal. It was not easy, but I needed time to plan my next steps without her suspecting anything. I could not let her know I was onto her, so I kept being the loving husband and pretended that nothing had changed. Every morning I made breakfast, kissed her goodbye, and wished her a good day at work. I helped the kids with their homework, took them to soccer practice, and read them bedtime stories. But all the while, I was meticulously planning my next move. I knew I needed to protect Anna and Atlas, and that meant preparing for a divorce in a way that ensured I would get custody. The first thing I did was hire a lawyer. I needed someone who could guide me through this mess and help me build a strong case. I found a reputable family lawyer who was experienced with custody battles. We met in secret, and I laid everything out, the video and the messages as well, and she assured me we had a strong case, especially given Sadie's neglect of the kids due to her long hours and infidelity. After preparing for everything, I decided to call Everly because she was the only one who had given me the video that started it all. It was not an easy call to make, but I needed to let her know where things stood and see if she had any more evidence that could help. "Hey, Everly, it's Caleb. I wanted to talk to you about Sadie." "What's going on, Caleb? Did you confront her?" "Not yet. But I'm planning to. I have been gathering evidence, and I have decided to file for divorce and seek full custody of the kids." "I'm really sorry, Caleb. I hoped it wouldn't come to this." "Me too." I checked Sadie's phone and found messages confirming everything, and at this point, I cannot just ignore it. I know this is a lot to ask, but do you have any other evidence? Anything that could help make sure the kids stay with me? Everly was silent for a moment, and I could almost hear her thinking through the phone. "Actually, yes, I have more messages and photos. They were sent to me by a friend of Sadie's. I did not know how to confront her or tell you, so I just kept them, hoping the affair would end on its own. But it did not, and I could not stand by and watch you and the kids suffer." "Thank you, Everly. I know this must be hard for you, but I appreciate your help. Can you send me everything you have?" "Of course. You and the kids don't deserve this, Caleb. I just want to do what's right. Hang in there, Caleb. I'm here if you need anything else." Everly sent me all the photos right away, and as I opened them, I felt a fresh wave of anger and betrayal. There were more texts, incriminating photos, and even videos of Sadie with her colleague. It was clear and undeniable, and I handed it over to my lawyer right away. The hardest part was waiting for the right moment. My lawyer advised me to hold off on confronting Sadie until we had everything in place. So I kept pretending, kept smiling, and kept acting like a devoted husband, while booking from the inside. I was tired of the charade. Keeping up the act around Sadie was wearing me down, and I knew it was time to expose the truth, so I decided to reveal her betrayal in a way that would be impossible for her to deny. I planned a family movie night, something we had not done in a while. It seemed like the perfect setting for my dramatic reveal. I set everything up: popcorn, blankets, and a selection of the kids' favorite movies. Sadie seemed genuinely excited, probably thinking we were just having a regular family night. Little did she know what was coming. As we settled in, I fiddled with the remote, pretending to search for the movie we were going to watch. I connected my phone to the TV saying I had some great movies downloaded in there, and then I accidentally hit play on the wrong video, which was the video Everly had given me of Sadie. It started to roll on the screen. It clearly showed Sadie at that party, laughing and boasting about how I was a loser who would never leave her, even if I found out she was cheating. The room went dead silent, and Sadie's face turned white, and her eyes widened in shock. Anna and Atlas looked confused and shocked as well. They did not fully understand the gravity of what they were seeing, but they could sense something was terribly wrong. Anna was the first to react and turned to Sadie in an instant, asking her why she said that and what was going on. Her voice was small, hurt, and filled with confusion. Sadie was speechless, and her mouth opened and closed as she tried to find words that would not come. The panic and guilt were written all over her face, and this was exactly the reaction I had expected. I wanted the kids to see the truth, but I did not want them to get dragged into the ugliness of it all, and so I sent them upstairs to their beds. After I sent Anna and Atlas to their rooms, I turned back to Sadie. She was still sitting on the couch, her face pale and her eyes were turning red from crying. "I know everything, Sadie. I have seen the messages, and I know about your affair with your colleague. I have already filed for divorce." Sadie's face crumpled, and she started sobbing harder. "Caleb, please, I'm so sorry. It was a mistake, a huge mistake. I never meant to hurt you or the kids. Please give me another chance." "Sadie, it's too late for apologies. You have been lying to me for months, treating me like a fool behind my back. How can I ever trust you again? Please, Caleb, think about the kids. Think about our family. We can work through this, I promise. I will do whatever it takes. The kids are my first priority, and that is why I'm doing this. They deserve to grow up in a home where there is trust and honesty, not lies and deceit. I can't give them that with you anymore. We will figure out the details later. But I'm not changing my mind. This marriage is over. Sadie suddenly turned into this mad person when I pressed on Anna and Atlas's situation and started screaming at me. You can't do this to me. You can't take the kids away. Then why? Why did you do this to us? To our family? She screamed at the top of her lungs and I did too. I don't know, Caleb. It was thrilling at the time. It made me feel alive. But I'm sorry. I never meant for it to get this far. Thrilling? Did you destroy our family for a thrill? How can you even say that? You don't deserve to raise my kids. This isn't fair, Caleb. I'm their mother. They need me too. What they need is stability, and that is something you can't provide right now. I don't want to talk anymore. I'm going to sleep on the couch. Caleb, I'm begging you. Don't do this. We can go to counseling, we can. No, Sadie. There is no going back from this. You made your choice, and now I'm making mine. We will get through this, but not together. Now, it was inevitable that Anna would have questions. She was 15 now, wise beyond her years, and perceptive enough to know something major was happening. Atlas was still young but could sense the tension. And so one evening, after dinner, Anna came to me to talk about it. I knew this conversation was long overdue, so I sat down in the living room. I called Atlas over to join us, and he clung to my side as I said it all. Anna, Atlas, I need to talk to you about what's been going on. Your mom and I are getting a divorce. Anna's face was serious, but she did not seem surprised. Atlas just looked confused and sad. I want you both to know this is not your fault. Your mom and I love you very much. Sometimes grown-ups have problems they can't fix, and it's better for everyone if they live apart. Dad, I know Mom was cheating on you. I heard some things and saw how upset you were. Is that why you are getting a divorce? Yes, Anna. Your mom made some choices that hurt our family. I tried to handle it the best I could, but I couldn't stay married to her after what she did. But you still love us, right? Of course, buddy. Both your mom and I love you very much. That will never change. We are always here for you, no matter what. What happens now? I explained the logistics, how we would be living separately, how we would work out visiting schedules, and how their lives would change as little as possible. She listened intently, absorbing everything. And after a pause, she said something that took me by surprise. Dad, I want to talk to Mom. And I want to give her the divorce papers, please. Are you sure, Anna? That is a big step. Yes, I'm sure. I need to do this. Me and Atlas would both do it. The next evening when Sadie came home, I had the papers ready and I asked Anna if she really wanted to do this, to which she agreed. When she walked in, looking exhausted, Anna stood up, holding the documents. Mom, we need to talk. Sadie was confused, then saw the papers in Anna's hand. What's going on? Here, we know everything. And we think it is best if you leave. I never expected this from you, Mom. Anna, Atlas, please. No, Mom. I don't want to hear you lie anymore, please. Did you ever love me? You have hurt us, and you need to go. Anna, baby, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Atlas, come to Mama, please. Atlas clung to my side, his eyes wide and sad. We will be okay, Mom. Atlas will be okay too, just like you were okay hurting us. Sadie was a crying mess too. She took one look at Anna and Atlas and left, taking the divorce papers with her. I comforted my kids and promised them that whatever would happen, we would face it together. After some time, the whole procedure of the custody thing started, and the legal battle over it was just as grueling. Sadie fought tooth and nail for custody of Anna and Atlas, but my lawyer and I had prepared meticulously. On the side, Sadie also tried to manipulate Anna and Atlas by saying that she was being framed and that she was innocent. She used to show up unannounced and tried to win back their affection, but it was all a big waste of time because each time, the kids remained distant and guarded. They were not ready to forgive her, not after everything that had happened. Meanwhile, in court, I presented the evidence of her infidelity, her long hours away from home, and the stable environment I could provide for the kids. The court saw through her attempts to paint herself as the victim and recognized the truth. In the end, the judge awarded me full custody of Anna and Atlas, and Sadie was granted limited visitation rights, supervised at first. It was a bittersweet victory. I was relieved that the kids would be with me, where I could protect them and give them the stability they needed. But it also meant that their relationship with their mother would be forever altered. When I told Anna and Atlas about the court's decision, Anna hugged me tight. Her relief was palpable, saying she was glad that they were staying with me. In the end, Sadie's reaction to the court's decision was a mix of anger and resignation. She tried to argue with me, plead with me to reconsider, but I stood my ground and thrived in seeing her suffer at her own hands. This was the ultimate revenge I took on her. I knew how much she wanted the kids to be with her, but as long as I was alive, she would never get to experience that.